The stars outside Zero Station were cold and quiet. Commander Elias Varn stood by the large viewing window, watching the endless black. He had been posted to this outer station for 6 months now. It was a peaceful place, mostly used for science and scanning deep space. No wars, no threats. Just silence. But peace never lasted long near alien borders. The alarm rang at Oro 200 hours. A red light flashed above the command deck. Elias turned sharply. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Solon, was already at the console. Unidentified vessel approaching. Solon said, "It's small, heavily damaged. 1 life sign." Elias frowned. "Any weapons?" "No weapons active. The ship barely has power. Might be a distress signal." "Bring it in slowly," Elias ordered. "Medical team, prepare for quarantine. I want eyes on that ship before anyone steps near it." The docking bay hissed as the strange craft entered. It looked alien, sleek and curved like a bird's wing, but scorched with burn marks. A piece of the left side was missing. Inside, it was quiet. Then the hatch opened and she stepped out. She looked human, but not fully. Her skin was pale with a soft blue tone. Her hair was silver white and tied back. Her eyes were large and shiny like a cat's. But what caught everyone's attention were her hands. They glowed faintly. Lines of silver light ran across her palms, up her fingers, and faded near her wrists. "I am not your enemy," she said softly. "Please, I need help." Elias stepped forward carefully. "I'm Commander Elias Varn. You're safe now. Who are you?" "My name is Lyra," she said. "My ship was attacked by the Drekar. I escaped. Barely." Elias nodded slowly. "Medical team, check her vitals. Keep scanning for hidden tech. No chances." As the team led her away, Elias kept watching her hands. Those glowing lines. He had seen something like that before. In a report from the Earth Defense Command. The Drekar had developed new tech, living interfaces, people, who could control machines with thought. He didn't say anything yet. But doubt began to grow in his mind. Hours later, Lyra sat in the med bay wrapped in a clean blanket. The doctor said she had no weapons, no known viruses, and no dangerous implants. She seemed tired, frightened, but calm. Elias entered the room. "Feeling better?" he asked. She nodded. "Thank you. I didn't think I'd survive. You said the Drekar attacked your ship. What were you doing near this sector?" Lyra hesitated. "I was running from them. I used to be in their system, a worker, but I escaped. I was trying to find humans. I heard you help those in danger." "And the markings on your hands?" Lyra looked down. "They did this to me, made me part of their machines. I never wanted it." Her voice sounded honest, her eyes seemed sincere, but Elias had been a soldier for 15 years. He knew people could lie with their voices. What worried him were her hands. Not just the glow, but the way she touched things, like she could feel more than just the surface, like she could talk to machines through her skin. Still, he gave her food, rest, and a room to stay in. He ordered guards nearby, just in case. That night, the station was quiet. Most crew were asleep. Elias sat in the control room, reading Lyra's scan reports again. Something didn't add up. Her body was fully organic, but the energy in her hands came from a power source inside her cells, almost like a living battery. "Commander," came a voice through the comm. "We have a problem. Storage room 4, door opened by itself." Elias stood. "Send me the camera feed." The screen showed a hallway, a door sliding open, Lyra walking through. He moved quickly. He found her in the old communication room. Her hand was pressed against a data panel. The screen flickered. Lights blinked fast. "Lyra," Elias said firmly. She turned, eyes wide. "I'm sorry," she said. "I couldn't sleep. I needed something familiar." "You accessed a restricted panel. That's not allowed." I didn't mean to. I just... I can feel the machines around me. It's like they talk in dreams. I didn't change anything. Elias looked at the panel. No files were moved. No commands were run. But still, why was she there? He stepped closer. I want to believe, Hugh Lyra, but this isn't a safe place for secrets, especially not with Drekar tech in your blood. She looked hurt. I left them, I chose to run, isn't that enough? Elias didn't answer. He walked her back to her room and posted 2 guards outside. The next morning, Elias met with Dr. Vale, the station's top scientist. She's not lying completely, Vale said. Her DNA is human-like, but the modifications are advanced, beyond anything we've seen. If she were part of the Drekar network, she'd be able to control almost any system. Then why hasn't she? Elias asked. Vale shrugged. Maybe she's afraid. Maybe she's hiding her true self, or maybe she's telling the truth. Elias thought long and hard. Could she really be innocent? Or was she planted here, sent by the Drekar for a deeper purpose? Either way, he couldn't ignore the signs. Her hands. They weren't just marks. They were keys. And he didn't know what doors they could open. Later that day, Elias returned to the viewing window. Stars still blinked in the distance. Peaceful, but now, that peace felt fragile. Behind him, the station hummed with quiet life. But in that hum, Elias thought he heard something else. A whisper, like a voice in the wires. He turned quickly. No one was there, only silence. And questions. The quiet hum of Zero Station never stopped. It was like a living thing, soft, steady, always awake. But now the hum felt different to Commander Elias Varn. It seemed heavier, like a shadow moving beneath the surface. Lyra's presence had changed everything. The strange woman with glowing hands sat quietly in her room. She refused to speak much now except when Elias or the medical team came in. She said she needed time to rest, but the truth was, no one knew what she was thinking. Elias paced the command deck. He called Dr. Vale, the station's lead scientist, to the control room. Doctor, Elias said, I need your help. Something about Lyra's hands. They're connected to the station. I feel it, but I don't understand how. Vale nodded. I've been running tests all night. Lyra's hands emit a low-level energy field. It's bioelectrical, but it interacts with machines in ways we don't fully grasp. It's like her hands can talk to technology. Talk to technology? Elias raised his eyebrows. You mean she can control the station? Not fully, but parts of it, doors, power systems, even some data networks, she can influence with her touch. Elias frowned. That worries me. What if she's a spy? What if the Drekar sent her here to take over the station from the inside? Vale shook her head. I don't think she wants to harm us. The energy patterns in her hands are unstable. It looks like she's struggling to control it. Still, Elias said, we need to keep a close watch. Over the next few days, strange things started happening on Zero Station. Doors opened and closed without command. Lights flickered in empty corridors. Cameras sometimes showed nothing, then suddenly cut out. At first, the crew thought it was technical errors. But then Elias noticed a pattern. All the glitches happened near Lyra's quarters or in parts of the station connected to the old communication array. He called a meeting. We have a possible security breach, Elias announced. These system glitches could be caused by a virus or someone with direct control over our machines. Solon, his second-in-command, looked at him sharply. You think Lyra is behind this? I don't know yet, but her hands can interact with our systems. That's why we must be careful. Meanwhile, Lyra sat in her room staring at her hands. The silver lines glowed softly, pulsing like a heartbeat. She whispered to herself, They are here, watching, waiting. Elias overheard this when he passed her door. Who is here, Lyra? He asked softly. She looked up, eyes wide. The Drekar. They send their machines to find me, to take me back. Why? Elias asked. You said you escaped. Why do they want you? Because I hold their secrets, she said. The code that controls their weapons. I was forced to carry it inside me. Elias took a deep breath. The truth was heavier than he thought. Dr. Vale made a breakthrough. Commander, she said, one morning, I found encrypted data inside Lyra's biosignature. It's a hidden message, left by the Drekar. What does it say? Elias asked, tense. Vale shook her head. I can't decode it fully, but it looks like instructions to activate hidden devices in this station. Elias's heart sank. We have Drekar tech here? In our station? Not physically, Vale replied, but through Lyra's hands they can send commands, like keys opening doors inside the system. Elias rubbed his temples. This is worse than I thought. The tension on Zero Station grew. One evening, Elias found Lyra near the old data core touching the controls. Lyra, stop, he said sharply. She turned slowly. Her eyes glowed faintly. I'm trying to protect this place, she said. The Drekar want to destroy it, but I can hold them back if I stay connected. Elias frowned. You can control machines. That's power, but it's dangerous. If you lose control, you could harm everyone here. Lyra's hands pulsed. I don't want to hurt anyone. I only want to keep them out. Elias looked at her hands. The glowing lines shimmered, moving like liquid silver. He believed her, but he also feared what those hands could do if they turned against them. Suddenly, alarms blared across the station. Drekar drones detected approaching the outer docks, Solon reported. They're sending attack ships. Elias moved fast. Prepare. Defenses. Activate shields. Evacuate non-essential personnel. He looked at Lyra. Can you help us fight them? Your connection to their tech might be our advantage. Lyra nodded, standing tall despite her fear. I will do everything I can. Together they raced to the control room. Lyra placed her hands on the console. The station's AI reacted immediately. Doors sealed. Weapon systems powered up. Cameras zoomed in on the incoming ships. Elias watched, in awe as the station came alive, almost like it was breathing with Lyra's help. The Drekar attack was fierce but brief. Thanks to Lyra's guidance, Zero Station's defenses held. The enemy ships retreated, damaged and confused. The crew cheered. Elias felt relief flood his chest. But deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. After the battle, Elias and Lyra sat in the command deck. You saved this station, Elias said quietly. Lyra looked down at her hands, tired but glowing softly. I didn't want to be a weapon. I just wanted freedom. Elias nodded. I believe you. But your hands tell a story different from your words. She smiled sadly. They do. But maybe in time, they will tell a new story. Elias looked out the window at the stars. The war was far from over, and the true battle might not be with ships or guns, but inside the wires, and inside Lyra herself. The quiet on Zero Station had returned after the Drekar attack, but peace felt thin, like ice covering a deep, dark ocean. Commander Elias Varn knew better than anyone that danger could hide beneath calm waters. Lyra remained in her room most of the time. Her glowing hands pulsed faintly as if they were alive with energy. Elias could not shake the feeling that those hands held secrets she was not telling. One morning while Elias was checking the station's systems, an alert flashed on his screen. The station's core AI was showing unusual activity, a pattern of data moving through its systems that no one could explain. Dr. Vale, Elias called through the intercom. Can you come to the control room immediately? We have a serious problem. Vale arrived quickly. Her face was pale, her eyes worried. Commander, she said, someone is trying to access forbidden data files in the station's core. It's like a shadow moving through the wires, but no one is logged in. Elias frowned. Could it be a virus or a Drekar hack? Vale shook her head. It's not a normal attack. This is something else. It moves too quickly and it hides itself very well. Elias thought of Lyra and her strange connection to technology. Do you think she is involved? Vale hesitated. It's possible. But it could also be the Drekar trying to reach us through her. Elias went to Lyra's room and knocked softly. She opened the door, her glowing hands resting on the doorframe. I need to talk, Elias said gently. Lyra nodded and stepped aside. In the quiet room, Elias spoke carefully. Lyra, the station's AI is being attacked. Someone or something is moving through our systems without being seen. She looked down at her hands. I know. I feel it too. The Drekar want to come inside. They want to take control. Can you stop it? Elias asked. She closed her eyes, then placed her hands on the table. The glowing lines spread, shining brighter for a moment. I can try, she said softly. But it will take all my strength. Later that day, the station's power flickered. Lights dimmed and then surged back on. Doors opened and closed without command. The crew grew nervous. In the control room, Elias and Vale watched the station's systems as the strange shadow moved deeper into the AI. Lyra, Elias called. Can you block the intruder? Lyra's voice came through the comm. I'm inside the system now, but it is like fighting a ghost. On the screen, a digital map of the station's system showed glowing lines moving fast. Lyra's energy, bright and silver, moved alongside, a dark, creeping shadow. As Lyra struggled inside the digital world, Elias's mind flashed back to stories he had heard about the Drekar. They were a cruel race who used technology to control others. They built war machines with minds of their own and used biocoding to link soldiers directly to their weapons. Lyra had said she was once one of them, forced to be a living interface between their warships and the machines they controlled, but now she was fighting to break free. Elias stood in the control room, feeling helpless, but determined. We need to protect her, he told the crew. If she fails, the Drekar will take control of the station. Inside the station's AI core, the fight was fierce. Lyra's digital self moved quickly, pushing the shadow back, blocking its attempts to control the system. The shadow tried to corrupt files, open doors to secret rooms, and disable defenses. Lyra fought with everything she had. Her glowing hand sent waves of energy through the code, but each time she pushed the shadow away, it returned stronger. Suddenly, alarms blared. Drones detected inside the station, Solon shouted. Small, fast, and attacking systems directly. Elias grabbed his weapon and ran toward the docking bay. The station's internal defenses began firing at the drones, but they were clever and quick. Lyra's voice came over the comm again. I can't hold them much longer, they are too strong. Elias moved with his team through the corridors, blocking drones and repairing damaged systems. Stay close, he ordered. We can't let them reach the control room. Back inside, the AI core, Lyra's strength was fading. Her glowing hands dimmed. She closed her eyes and remembered the day she escaped the Drekar. How they had marked her hands with their biocoding technology, making her part machine, part human. She never wanted this power. But now she had no choice. With a final burst of energy, she sent a wave through the digital shadow. The shadow screamed and began to break apart. Outside, the last of the Drekar drones were destroyed. The station was safe, for now. Elias sat heavily in the command chair, exhausted but relieved. He looked at the screen showing Lyra's biosignature. Her hands no longer glowed. She did it, Elias said softly. She saved us. Days later, Lyra woke in the med bay. Elias was there. Welcome back, he said. Lyra looked at her hands, now dark and still. I'm sorry, she whispered. I lost part of myself fighting the Drekar inside the station. Elias shook his head. You didn't lose yourself. You found a new purpose. She smiled weakly. Do you really believe I am innocent? Elias took her hand gently. Your hands told a story different from your words, but in the end, actions speak louder than words. The fight was over, but the war was far from done. Elias knew the Drekar would return, and Lyra's hands, once glowing with power, would one day glow again. For now they were allies, But the future was uncertain. Zero Station rested under a quiet sky, but inside the battle was far from over. Commander Elias Varn sat in the command room, staring at the screen that showed the endless stars. He thought about the fight with the Drekar drones. The victory had been costly, especially for Lyra. Her hands, once glowing with powerful energy, were now dim. The great effort to protect the station had drained her. Elias rubbed his tired eyes. He knew this was not the end. The Drekar were clever. They did not fight with weapons alone, they fought with fear, control, and shadows inside minds. Lyra lay in the medbay. She was awake, but weak. Her silver-white hair fell softly on the pillow. Her pale blue skin had lost some of its shine. Dr. Vale entered and checked her vitals. "She's stable," Vale said quietly to Elias, who was nearby. "But the energy loss from her hands is severe. It's like she gave all she had and now needs time to recover." Elias nodded. "Can we help her regain strength?" Vale shook her head. "The bioenergy in her hands is unique. It's not like anything we've studied. If we push her too hard, she might lose control. Or worse." Elias looked at Lyra's still hands. "She trusted us enough to fight for us. We owe her patience." The station's crew had mixed feelings about Lyra. Some believed she was a hero who saved them. Others whispered she was dangerous, a weapon waiting to awaken. Solon approached Elias. "Commander," Solon said carefully. "Some crew members want her gone. They don't trust the Drekar tech inside her." Elias sighed. "I understand their fear, but she's helped us survive. We need to find a way to work together, not tear each other apart." Days passed slowly. Lyra's strength returned bit by bit. One evening, Elias visited her room. "How are you feeling?" he asked. Lyra looked at her hands. "Better. But something inside me is changing." "Changing how?" Her eyes were distant. "The energy is different now. I feel new connections, not just to machines, but to the people here. I want to protect them, not just the station." Elias smiled softly. "That's good. But," she added, "there's also a shadow inside me. A war I must fight alone." Meanwhile, strange signals appeared near Zero Station. Scientists detected mysterious transmissions coming from deep space. Vale studied the signals. "They're coded messages," she told Elias. "The Drekar are sending warnings. They know about Lyra. They're preparing for something bigger." Elias felt a chill. "We must be ready," he said. One night, Lyra woke suddenly. Her hands glowed faintly. She stood and walked to the station's window. Outside, the stars twinkled, like distant fires. "I can hear them," she whispered. "The Drekar voices. They want me back." Elias found her there. "Lyra," he said gently, "you don't have to fight this alone." She looked at him, her glowing hands trembling. "But the war is inside me. If I lose control, I could become the weapon they made me." Elias took her hand. "Then let us fight it with you." Together, Elias, Lyra, and Dr. Vale worked to understand the bioenergy inside Lyra's hands. They designed a special device to help her control the energy. It was a bracelet that could balance the power and keep her safe. When Lyra wore it, her hands glowed steady and calm. For the first time, she smiled with hope. But peace was short-lived. One morning, the station's alarms screamed. Drekar warships appeared near the edge of the system. "We're under attack," Solon shouted. Elias took command. "Prepare for battle. Activate all defenses. Keep civilians safe." Lyra stood beside him, her hands glowing brighter than ever. "I will help," she said firmly. The battle was fierce. Drekar ships fired powerful energy beams. Shields shook. Explosions rocked the station. Lyra placed her hands on the control panels. She sent waves of energy through the station's systems, blocking attacks and repairing damage in seconds. The crew watched in awe as the station became a living fortress. But inside Lyra, the war raged on. The Drekar voices whispered threats and promises. They tried to pull her back to their control. She fought with all her will, Her glowing hands shimmered with strength and pain. Finally, with Elias and the crew supporting her, Lyra broke free. The Drekar ships retreated. The station was safe once, again. After the battle, Elias and Lyra stood looking at the stars. "You are no longer their weapon," Elias said softly. "You are your own person." Lyra smiled. "And I will fight to protect this station, and everyone on it." Elias nodded. The war outside might never end, but the war inside Lyra was finally being won. Zero Station floated silently in space, a beacon of hope against the vast darkness. Commander Elias Varn stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. After all they had faced, the station still stood strong. But Elias knew the greatest challenge was not outside but inside. Lyra's hands no longer pulsed with the chaotic energy they once held. Now they glowed softly, steady and calm, like a quiet river instead of a storm. Elias smiled to himself. She had changed, not just in power but in spirit. Lyra sat nearby, quietly watching the stars. The war inside her had been long and painful, but now she felt peace for the first time in years. "Do you remember," Elias asked gently, "when you first arrived? How scared you were?" Lyra nodded. "I was lost. I didn't know if I could be free from the Drekar's control. And now?" She smiled softly. "Now I am more than my hands or my past. I am myself." The crew gathered in the main hall to celebrate their victory. Dr. Vale spoke first. "Zero Station has survived not just because of technology, but because of courage and trust. We learned that strength comes from working together." Solon, once doubtful of Lyra, stood up. "I was wrong to fear her. She is one of us." The room filled with applause, but peace was fragile. A new message arrived on the station's secure channel, a transmission from the outer edge of known space. Elias opened it with the crew watching. The message was from a distant colony. They spoke of a new threat rising, one even more dangerous than the Drekar. Elias's face grew serious. "We must prepare," he said. "The war is not over, but we are ready." In the days that followed, Elias worked with Lyra and the crew to strengthen the station. Lyra's control over her hands grew stronger. The bracelet Dr. Vale had made helped balance her energy. She practiced every day, learning to use her power not as a weapon, but as a shield. One afternoon, Elias found her in the training room, glowing hands moving with grace and power. "You have come far," he said. Lyra smiled. "I still have much to learn, but I believe I can protect this station and my new family." One evening, as Elias walked through the station, he overheard a conversation between two crew members. "Do you think Lyra's hands will ever stop glowing?" one asked. "Maybe they will," the other replied. "But no matter what, she is not alone now." Elias nodded quietly. It was true. Lyra's hands had once told a story of fear and control, but now they told a story of hope and freedom. Suddenly, a warning flashed across the control screens. "Unknown ship approaching fast," Solon shouted. The crew rushed to their stations. Lyra stepped forward. "Let me try to communicate," she said. Her hands glowed as she connected with the station systems. She sent a signal, soft, clear, and full of peace. The ship slowed and stopped at the docking bay. Elias and Lyra met the visitors. They were not enemies but refugees, escaping the new threat that had been mentioned. "We have heard of your courage," their leader said. "We seek allies." Elias smiled. "You are welcome here." Lyra looked at the refugees' hopeful faces. She felt a new purpose growing inside her. Days turned into weeks. The refugees settled into Zero Station. They shared stories of survival and hope. Lyra taught the children how to control their fears, using her glowing hands as a symbol of light. One day, a small girl asked, "Will your hands always glow?" Lyra knelt and smiled. "They will glow as long as I choose to protect those I love." The station became a symbol of unity in a dark galaxy. Elias stood once more at the observation deck, looking at the stars. He thought of Lyra and how far she had come. The war outside was still out there, waiting, but inside Zero Station, a new light shone, stronger than any weapon. Lyra's hands told a new story now, a story of courage, friendship, and hope. She was no longer a weapon of war. She was a guardian of peace. The end.